Hi everybody, welcome to C-Suite Strategy, Elevate Every Move, Scale Beyond. And our topic today for the discussion is Presence with Purpose, how leaders could inspire and impact beyond boardroom. Your go-to podcast on tech, cyberspace, strategy and growth. I am Prem Kumar AS, your host today. We will explore how presence with a purpose matters when we are in a discussion or a boardroom. A special welcome to all tuned to Power of Mind Forum weekly episode 276 live on LinkedIn today. And we have the honor of having PK Narayanan, CEO coach, Propelling Prosperity, joining us today. Let's welcome our esteemed speaker to our podcast event and dive into the topic. Sir, welcome to our show, sir. Good evening.
Thank you, Prem. Glad to be here.
Yes, sir. So, you want to give an introduction or we'll just dive in, sir? How do you want to take it?
I think we would dive in.
Okay, great, sir. Sir, the pointer that we are talking about is a very powerful pointer which we are talking about presence with purpose, right? And what or how leaders could inspire and impact beyond boardrooms is what we are talking about. And why does the pointer purposeful presence triumph positional power in creating following through on strategic goals? Your take on it, sir.
Sure. I think presence itself is so important, and especially when it comes to leadership presence. We might have heard leadership presence, executive presence, and maybe presence with purpose, as you have, described it. The leadership presence is the hallmark of successful leaders. And leadership presence generates leadership impact. Probably we would first look at some aspects of leadership presence before we go to presence with purpose, because both are so interlinked. And leadership presence, in fact, inspires, influences, and impacts people and outcomes. And it is therefore extremely relevant for a leader to build that muscle. And the good news is that leadership presence can be developed, enhanced, can be worked on, and it can be a working progress throughout, like any other art, for example. So leadership presence enables one to influence others beyond what is conferred by formal authority. And today, when we talk about presence with purpose, that is what happens. And it is more of informal influencing, inspiring that happens beyond the formal authority that is vested in a leader. And leadership presence of great leaders is felt even in their absence. Yeah. And leaders with leadership presence look comfortable, composed, humble, involved. And such leaders exude warmth and appear inclusive and approachable. So they communicate with clarity, brevity, with respect, and they simplify things. And they afford psychological safety for people around them, and they display a high sense of emotional awareness in that sense. So these are essentially some of the aspects of leadership presence. And one more aspect I need to highlight is that leaders with leadership presence listen.
Hmm.
they listen pretty well, and
I,
they appear open, curious, and they are clear and authentic, trustworthy, consistent,
okay.
resolute, resilient. I think these are some of the aspects that we can work on, improving them and learning from our experiences. Yeah. So it is not, again, I want to highlight leadership presence is not something that necessarily we are born with. It is something that we learn.
Hmm.
The good news is that we can build it, we can enhance it, we can strengthen it. And now coming to presence with purpose. You mentioned presence with purpose. See, the presence with purpose refers to showing up with leadership presence every moment in an intentional way, in an authentic manner, with a sense of meaning, direction, and purpose in life. So the purpose is larger than the leader. That is where, when we are working on something that is larger than us, is when you are able to exert influence or inspire people around you, and and that goes beyond you. Things become institutionalized. It's about being involved and engaged fully in the present with a clear understanding of larger picture, something that is larger than yourself, and a clear sense of the why, the why. And that is how one is able to influence and inspire and impact others to work towards those goals and purposes.
Sir, you said the first pointer was about listening, sir, which is a common problem that we face with today's generation. They don't listen fully, and they want to respond right before even listening and understanding. So that is a very key pointer that I think for leaders to have, and that's what you are saying. The first thing is a leader listens, right, sir?
Absolutely. I won't even attribute it to current generation and the times that we are living. Probably, I would rather attribute it to generally, even in our generation, or the generations before us. Probably leaders found it
Hmm.
valuable to listen. And it was always a struggle, because human tendency is to impress others, especially the geographies like us, who were colonized for so long and who had lacked expression for so long, and who were always abused, misused. So when an opportunity comes, probably the tendency might have been to, to speak, because we lacked those opportunities over the last 800,000 years, if you look at the history of. So we, as a geography people, leaders from countries like India, we may have to work even over time on building the listening habit. When you are listening, you are listening to something that others are saying, and even to something that they are not saying, so something beyond what they are saying. Yeah, because most of the times, Prem, people may not be comfortable sharing certain things black and white or to the fullest, so they may just stop short of saying what they exactly wanted to tell you. So a leader, he builds his listening or her listening faculties and capabilities to an extent that they listen to even things that they just stop short of saying, and ask a clarification question or a clarificatory question as to, is it that this in fact what you wanted to say, or what you really mean. And that will probably make the other person open up a little more and share what exactly they wanted to say. And mostly, if you are a keen listener, you would have picked up the cue. And the other side of this activity, I told you, we have to also clarify what we are not hearing but listening, right? That is important because we cannot assume anything. Assumption is another big risk. I gather from what you said so far, this is what I'm gathering is a very offensive statement if it is wrong. So a leader knows how sensitively he an open, curious mindset. So that is another part of listening. I'm glad you picked up listening as a very important leadership presence, especially with purpose.
So, because what I want to understand from you, because you've been an author for a book, right? So, there's a book which PK Narayan sir has written, and I'm scrolling it down. Is Enhancing Leadership Presence is a book which he's authored, and the scroll about where you can get that book is being going down. He talks more about how you can enhance the leadership presence at various places. It's not only leadership can be at a gathering, it can be at a small meeting, formal discussion, how you bring up leadership, then going to town halls, boardrooms, and stuff. So it depends on how the leadership you want to look at it. I'll bring up a screen in some time where you can look and have that book also see. You can purchase that under this link that is scrolling down, and we'll bring up that screen very soon. So coming to the point that I want to understand is, what are some specific behavior signals purposeful presence to remote, hybrid, or on-site teams? Because it's a collaboration now. Sometimes we are at home working, sometimes we are half a day at home, half a day at office. At times you're completely remote, uh, and the location also keeps varying. How do you look at presence in these kind of scenarios?
See, in this particular context that we are discussing about presence with purpose, we already mentioned that one of the aspects is that the purpose is larger than me. If I am a leader, the purpose for which, or the goals or the destination towards what I am actually leading a pack of people, or any activities, definitely we would appreciate that the purpose needs to be something beyond me and something beyond probably what a person stands for. And that way you are able to inspire people even remotely. And now coming to your question in the context, whether the new ways of emerging working, especially in the offline, online, remote, and multiple geographies. See, the presence, the leadership presence in particular, and therefore presence with purpose, is nothing much about physical presence. That is where even leaders are present when they are even absent. So they just fire people up. They inspire people up. Look at, for example, the independence time. When we were struggling to gain independence, there was no communication. There was no social media. There was not even literacy that printed newspapers could be read. But still, the messages were going across the country, and the whole mood in the country was so much inspired that the leaders worked on. So even in organizations, there can be leaders like Steve Jobs, or even Amazon Jeff Bezos, and all the employees or all the staff working there even wouldn't have seen them in bones and meats. I mean, they wouldn't have seen them physically even, but they are so and inspired, empowered, that they work towards the purpose that they set and the compass that they are holding. So It's not that it needs to be very different when it is physical or non-physical. I think some of the aspects that brings up leadership presence, if I can go into some 3 or 4 of such key aspects of leadership presence, if you wish, probably that will answer the question itself, why it doesn't matter really when you are face to face, or you are remote, or you are on a phone. Even some conversations over the phone can be extremely inspiring. Yeah. So it need not be even virtual, Zoom, or Microsoft Teams, or video conferencing. It can be even an audio line, or even an email. Some email that you send and another one reads it, different part of the day, different part of the world. It can be so inspiring and so touching. So we as leaders have the possibility to touch people, whether face to face or remote. So what I would encourage leaders to activate is to look at how to touch people, in an inspiring way. And some of the aspects, one and first and foremost, I would encourage, is to build this leadership presence, is to be present, is just to be present wherever we are. Now I am talking with you, whether I can be completely with you, totally with you. And after this, I am going to another situation, meet with another person, or talking with the neighbor, or I'm just going to take a walk outside the home. Whatever it is, can we be there where we are? This is the first and foremost in presence. Can I be with the person that I am with? Can I be with the email that I am drafting? Can I be totally with the email that I am reading? Can I be with the message that I am listening to fully? And once we start doing this, the magic is that others start experiencing us very differently. Yeah, even when you are parking your car, or you're getting down, you're a chauffeur driven leader, and you just say thank you to the driver, eye to eye contact, doesn't require time. That can be done even while you are pulling your bag. And when you are rushing through the security area and the reception area, for example, just establishing some contact. Be with the security fellow when you are crossing the security gate. Be with him that half second or 1 second, depending on your speed. Or when you are crossing the receptionist, for example. I am actually simplifying it, but we can apply only things that are simple, Prem. So it might sound like I am oversimplifying, but it is not oversimplifying, because it is the fact that if we are in the moment, magic happens, because the others start experiencing us differently. If we are half a second available for that security guard, whom we don't know his name, his where he is from, and how many days he has been there, we don't know. Even then, just recognizing his presence and passing through, you make his day. And similarly, you then that also enhances you. I am not asking a leader to do this for the security guard. Security guard gets benefited, that is a consequential benefit, it is a consequence. We are not talking about that. The matter here is that what is it doing to me as a leader? Yeah, I am there, and while rushing through the reception, if the receptionist is already there, she must be saying good morning. Most of us don't listen, don't hear it.
True, sir.
Yeah, we
Most of
don't.
the time we don't listen. You're right.
Yeah, we are already in the meeting that is supposed to start in 2 minutes in my cabin. Yeah, we are already there. So, just establishing that contact with the receptionist. After all, she is also a human being. So, just being there while crossing, that takes another half a second or 1 second.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the way you build. presence. You build your presence when you are in the elevator. You are in the elevator, not already in the meeting. Yeah, and not already what you are going to talk to someone. So it can be probably, once you start being wherever you are, you become extremely efficient. This may sound quite counterintuitive, but I am telling you, Prem, we think multitasking is efficiency. It is not. Research after research has shown that being with one thing makes us more efficient at a time. I'm saying in 5 minutes you can attend to five things, but 1 minute each. That could be, if you consider that as multitasking, I would prefer that rather than reading a message while speaking to you or sending an SMS while listening to you. So that presence, if I'm sending a message, just there, just be there, send the message. So I think this may sound very basic, but mastery is getting the basics right.
Sir, absolutely on every point, sir, because what you said is multitasking does not create work quickly. It delays work because there is always a confusion saying that which work is completed, which is not completed. Your point is valid. Now, with that 5 minutes, if you are able to do five tasks, complete each task and coming out, that means your 1 minute for that task is being effective and you concentrated on that task, is what you are trying to say. Am I right in saying that, sir?
Absolutely. So when you're remotely with someone, even if your camera is off, be there.
Yeah.
Whatever be the reason, camera being off, maybe low connectivity or bad connectivity, whatever. Even if you are on video off, just be there on the audio. I think that way your presence will be felt by the listeners or the remote workers. So that is where I was coming to. So even remote workers, remote teams, remote people, remote clients, remote stakeholders, if you are there with them full time, they will feel your presence. Physical doesn't really matter.
Absolutely, sir. Now, coming to a few pointers that I want to understand, because you said concentration and having a dedicated. There are people who want to have an update with every task that is there, what we call as micromanagement, also at times. Now, what or how can a leader everyday micro interactions, example hallways, chats, slacks, translate into enterprise level impacts? Because one is micromanagement, one is micro interactions. There are two different aspects, right? Now, how do we look at having a micro interactions being very impactful, sir?
See, micro interactions, if micro by micro, do you mean short interactions, short in terms of time?
Yeah, short. Maybe see, as you rightly said, the security guard, you give him
Ah,
a 2 minute or morning. So, Mike, it's a kind of a micro task that you are trying to do, where you don't fix a time, but that is a small task, right?
I think leadership is about, or good leadership is about nuances, because it's all about the nuances and the subtler things that you do that makes people inspired and influenced. Today, formal authority, you can get reviews, you can get dashboards, you can get detailed reviews. I am not in a way demeaning the importance of those. Processes have to go on, but those are still, I would feel, is less human that the human interactions that you can add upon it. So even the reviews and the weekly, daily dashboards, or even updates, something that is very high stake going on, you may be getting an hourly update on where we are with that, etc. All that is fine, but all that you can do with a touch of grace and touch of so that those nuances as a leader, you know I wouldn't say human touch or anything, because human touch is a very generic term. Your authentic touch, whichever way that you are, authenticity is very important for leadership presence. You don't act it out.
Mm,
because when you act it out, people get it, and authenticity and trust, you cannot compromise. So whatever way, whichever way, as authentic as you are, but with some grace and with attending to the nuances, and being and being harsh on issues but soft on people, for example. Yeah. So your question on micro interactions and micro management, these two are completely different, as you yourself differentiated them. So micro management, I think, is a topic which leaders are beyond that. I think if
yes.
you are a micromanager, I don't know whether you would be a leader that we are talking about.
Mm,
But at the same time, certain things, when the stakes are high, you may have to manage it more intimately, if I may put
mm,
it that way, than your normal. So see, for example, you have a visitor in the factory, a VIP. You may be doing it in a particular way, but imagine that is a chief minister of the state or a prime minister of the country, or or the MD of your largest client, etc. So as a leader, you may get into a little more nuance, I mean, nitty gritties of how things are, but that is fine. I think micromanagement in a general parlance, if you are referring to those things as micromanagement, I don't think that is the definition that I am talking about. But
okay.
generally, whatever I do in a day, everything that I delegate, I micromanage my managers. So that micromanagement probably a leader has to get out of, and he has to replace with somebody else who is capable of replacing his time. But we need to differentiate this also. Sometimes when the stakes are high, you may get into detail a little more than your normal ways, like the factory visit that I talked about, and that is perfectly okay. A leader has to be use leader need not follow a straight jacketed thing for everything. Leader needs to be conscious of what is the situation and what is and how it should be managed. So therefore, that way, leader needs to be conscious. So coming back to our example of that micro interactions, they are extremely important for a leader, because that half a second, 1 second, 5 seconds is the imprint that you are leaving on the person. Yeah. Prem, you are there?
I'm
Yeah.
there, sir.
Okay, so why is it important? This micro interactions, as you called it, it's a good terminology, I think. So the
Okay.
micro interactions are important because that is the time in which you are creating an impression on the other, or the other one is going to perceive you based on that short interaction that he or she is having with you. So it is important. That is why our presence is important. When you are present, you are conscious of everything that is happening there, and you will address the way you need to come across and how the others are therefore experiencing you. So micro interactions are very important. That is the way they experience you.
So at times when we are the leadership roles, what we see is there is, uh, I will say there is always an expectation saying that the leader should know everything, right? And that is becoming a challenge, because at times what I know may not be the pointer that you want to know as a leader, right? So if I know everything, then I don't need a seconding leader or another leader to come in. So that's my take. Now, what role does vulnerability play in amplifying purposeful presence without eroding the authority, sir? Because when I say I don't know, sometimes, oh, he's telling something but he does not know, does he have the authority to tell it? So those kind of nuances come up while we get into that kind of a vulnerability situation. So what is your take on it, sir?
See, it's a very important point you brought up, vulnerability as a leader, or whether a leader should know everything. Obvious answer is no. That is what we touched upon, being authentic. And today, everyone knows anyone cannot know everything. Generally, we all know that there will not be, or there cannot be one person in any company who will know everything, or who is supposed to know everything, or who needs to know everything. So this pressure, I think we are putting upon ourselves unnecessarily. If any leader is trying to do that, that can be a very meaningless assumption or meaningless belief, which might not be supporting them in their journey. So, first and foremost is that leaders need to be humble and vulnerable, and has the openness to accept what they know as they know, and what they don't know as they don't know. And that is a great possibility as well, to learn together, or to attribute regard, respect for people who know it in the organization. There will be experts within the organization for the functions that a CEO or a leader is not familiar with or not aware of. So it is also attributing, kind of acknowledging their presence and their views, and so a leader can always listen to things and then take a call towards the time that a call needs to be taken. Ultimately, the decision is leaders. So a leader needs to take responsibility, accountability for the decisions that they are taking, but all the inputs, insights need not be theirs. It can come from any quarters eligible to make such recommendations and suggestions, and they can also access help from outside. Many of the leaders are underestimating the help that is available, the support that is available outside. They are so internally focused, at times they forget or they don't see things that are available outside. Today, expertise is available in plenty, in any function, in any aspect, in any frame of scope of frame of reference. So, and even there are coaches to help you or to support you, to build your mindset, to deal with your fears, and to gain more clarity, to figure out your blind spots. There are even coaches available. Therefore, vulnerability plays a part, an important part for a leader's presence, because you yourself can imagine, if a leader presents himself as I know it all, what kind of presence or purpose that he can inspire people with. I think
I
it
think that will bring him SS leader. I think so. You say yes, that means yes, and we
yeah
go on.
it erodes it erodes presence significantly. So authenticity and vulnerability are two sides of the same coin. So when you are authentic, you are also vulnerable.
Hmm.
So that is the authenticity, and then only people will trust somebody who is who is authentic and vulnerable. Authenticity and vulnerable are so interrelated.
Sir, how do purpose-driven stories outperform data-heavy decks in inspiring action? Because now what we see is we run presentations or something which is very data intense, but at times you only predict or give an analysis, but there is no uh, inspiring action to it, right? So, how do you look at that point?
A brilliant point, a brilliant aspect that you are bringing up, because leaders with presence, and especially presence with purpose, they have a lot of stories. Storytelling is an amazing tool to bring people, to bring the abstract concepts or things that people will be trying to figure out what it is, and too much technical aspects.
Yeah.
Also, many a time when we have a use case or when we have a story, things become very clear to the audience. And a leader uses stories a lot. And how the stories occur to them. It is not by hearting stories. It is not reading a story to narrate there, etc. It will look very artificial and very made up kind of. So, how are the leaders doing it then? One aspect, again, the magic that I talked about a little earlier, I go back to that. If you are present in every moment, you have stories, because you observe things that others miss. and you figure out things that normal in a normal day-to-day life we miss, and you see the nuances or the intricacies of a situation of a or on a particular impact that gets created. You have a visibility, a clear visibility to those things. So stories are not something that comes with a lot of effort. Stories needs to just come, even if it is such topics like communication or listening, etc. Stories can occur if you are a keen observer, if you are a keen listener, if you are present in the moment, every moment. Stories will come, and stories are the ones that are used to inspire, influence people, and it is a great tool to use in the hands of a leader, especially when leaders have to inspire somebody with the purpose that they are working towards, and inspire the stakeholders to work with them towards the purpose that they are trying to drive. Stories play a very very important role, and there are many stories. In fact, Prem, I have with my clients, when I have interacted on this as a tool for their enhancement of their leadership presence, they remember many things to tell me which they have not shared with their people at all. So again, what prevents somebody from not narrating stories might be just that, not it could be a blind spot for many leaders, that whether stories are they really that powerful. But I would like to encourage leaders to use storytelling. Stories are extremely powerful, and real life stories and real experiences, and it can, even an innovative thing that one of the teams that they have done in one of the clients' places in a large company. When you narrate that as a story and what we have to learn from it, it can act as a motivation or as an inspiration for many more people to share more. So when you start sharing more, you start listening more. As a leader, when they start sharing the story, the people working for them also start sharing the story, and the overall environment becomes different. That is how the magic happens.
Coming to the frontline employees, engagement score shifts within 90 days when leaders show up, visible, and what metrics prove it. So, any pointers on that, sir?
Can you please come again? Can you explain the question a
Why
little?
do frontline employment engagement score shift? Because the engagement scores keep on shifting, right? When leader comes in, if there is a gap and if there is no leader coming in, there is nobody to motivate them. So, kind of that pointer, if you take, when a leader comes and speaks, how does the employee engagement score shift within 90 days when the leader shows up, visible, and what metrics prove it? So how does that impact of a leader meeting show up is what we are trying to find out.
90 days is very liberal time frame. 90 days is quite a lot of time.
Okay.
I think leaders touch you in a moment. Actually, one act, or one part either of listening or communicating, or the way you show up as a leader. When I say show up, I am not using the word show as an acting up. I am already discounting the role of acting in leadership. You cannot act it out. It has to be you. So the being is important. Leader as a being is the way they are going to show up, because you cannot act upon for too long with all the people. So when you show up, your leadership presence, and the way that the leader that you are, people get it. People get it in a moment, in an hour, in a week, definitely in a month, because people will people will gather what kind of being that you are, it doesn't take 90 days. So I think the shift happens immediately. In some cases instantly, but in some cases people will think, okay, this time he came across, let me have some consistency, let me so how is he going to be 1 week from now, 2 weeks from now? So people may be testing, but
Testing. Okay.
definitely within a month, or people will know what kind of person, what kind of being is this. And you can influence, you can, that is the turnaround stories. And that is how we hear when a leadership change happens, something dramatic happens. It may sound or look dramatic for people from outside, but I am telling you, it is very much possible for every leader, every human being. Because what we are talking about here is not rocket science. These are not things that somebody is blessed with or someone is born with. Not at all. So being there just needs some practice and some deliberate practice, being wherever you are. In 24 hours minus your sleep time, you are awake, supposed to be. And even when you are doing your stuff, how many of us are feeling the presence of brush in our mouth in the morning? I'm just asking a question. It should start from there. When you are washing your mouth, when you are brushing your teeth, you are aware, you are there in that moment.
Yeah.
Nothing happens mechanically after that, Prem. See, a lot of things we have mechanized for
Yeah.
efficiency, that is fine. But human life is not something for mechanization. Our life and our experience, see, after all, so many years that we are going to live here, nobody knows how many, only the experiences are going to matter, right? So every moment gives you an experience, good, bad, or ugly. So that experiences, are we feeling it? Are we seeing it? Are we learning from it?
I was
Nobody.
listening to Deepak Chopra's one session, sir, where he was talking about uh, mind, what you think, and it's a kind of circle that he gave us was, now your eyes are small, right? What do they see? They see things. Where is it getting stored? You think it's in the mind. No, it is not. It is there already. You are having a view. Now, he gave I got one more example where you said is, if I ask what is the color of your car, you literally look or picture your car into there and then tell the color rather than saying, blindly saying this is a color that I am there. Now, there was one more saying when I was part of Wipro, there was one training also which happened. The the trainer asked, what is the color of the fridge that you have? So the first one, everybody said white. Then the second question that came in was, uh, where is it placed in your house? Then they went, oh, it's in the kitchen, it's in the dining area. Then then the other person asked, the third question came in, how many doors does your fridge have? So then they went and said, okay. Then they said, it is a two door, one door, single small fridge. Then this guy, does it open right or left? So then he asked a question was, now you are in the kitchen. That's where you are there. So you are visualizing everything there. So
Uh-huh.
that presence is what you see at that moment, that you are not here, you are also present there. So you are sitting at your office or in this training, but visualizing something there. So I think that is one thing that when you are there or not, the presence makes a difference, right? Is the point that we wanted to drive. Is that something that we can correlate, sir? Is this?
See, being present is in that limited context, that training context that you gave.
Mhm.
Being present is being with the trainer, nowhere else.
Yeah,
So just answering the trainer, just doing what trainer is asking you to do. Just imagine where you are.
yeah,
So when you are, I am with you, and I ask you, Prem, imagine you are in Himalayas. So naturally, the imagination takes you to Himalayas, but you are here with me.
Here, yes,
You are
yes.
waiting for my next instruction, if it were to, in Himalayas where. So you are waiting for it, and you are with me.
Again, the same pointer which came in for Deepak Chopra's is when you give a break. Now you asked a question. You said you are awaiting for my answer, right? Then he said is put that pause. Then you lift a hand when I ask you to answer. So he told us to pause, and then he says that is the thought. That is the consciousness. So.
That is, yeah, yeah. I think it makes sense that to make sure that you are there and you are
Mm,
listening to the question and you are answering the question. So in that example, when the trainer is asking you to be in your kitchen, you are
mm,
still with the trainer and
yeah,
you are following trainers. He is taking you through a journey and you are in that journey. You are
yeah.
not talking about, you are not thinking while in that journey when he has asked how many doors the fridge has, you are not thinking about the balance sheet. What is,
Mm,
how is it going to be
true, true,
managed, or what is the funded limit and what is the non-funded limit if you are a finance guy. You are not thinking about that when you are with the trainer. When you are with the trainer, you are just following what trainer is asking you to do. He can take you to Himalayas, he can take you to your kitchen, doesn't matter.
yeah,
But you
yeah.
are with him totally. And that is the experience that I want my leaders to encourage. When you are that way, the trainer gets from you what he is expected to, and he is imparting the training, the learning that he is contracted to by the company, because you are learning through his process. This may be his process, right? You are just following the process. So it is priceless, actually, the value of presence, not only for leaders, and probably all the leaders need not be leaders already. They can exist anywhere in the country, anywhere in the society,
Mm,
anywhere in the company. It is not about the authority. You also asked about authority in the question. See, today, formal authority doesn't help much.
mm,
It is the influence or the inspiration that you can you can generate, that will create more outcome than what you can gather through your authority. I mean, authority is lost once it is used. So that is the generation and that is the times that we are living in. So leaders need to align with the times that we are living in and still be aware of the purpose, why, and the results or the
mm.
outcomes. So presence is essentially about touching people who you are with, and be with the email, be with the message that you are drafting, etc. And be there. The way you experience the life, the way you experience the moments in your business will be very different. And once you start doing it, the way others experience you naturally shifts. It naturally changes. So in your question, the 90 days or the people frontline or wherever they all will be touched and they will all experience you in a different way. And when you are touching people and when they are experiencing you differently, even the way they behave and what
Behave.
they bring to table changes.
Sir, coming to one pointer that I want to understand is how can powerful or purposeful presence accelerate the accrual of the invisible assets? Some kind of employer brand equity or innovation culture. Those pointers. Your take on it, sir.
Wow, that is a great question, because in a business, there was a research sometime back, might be 8 9 years old. SNP conducted a research, and they came out with a finding that intangible value account for 87% of business valuation of the listed entities. And in 1975, the same was 17%, 17, and
Okay.
2015 it was 87%. And the way the new startup AI and the valuations are going, currently it must be more than 87% of the enterprise valuation must be intangibles. So most of the enterprise value is intangibles. So what are the intangibles that we are talking about? We are talking about people. We are talking about values, the culture, the processes. That is what is creating the reputation or the value. Yeah. So essentially, the leadership presence is working on these areas. The same person, if led differently, produces some outcomes. The same person, if led very purposefully or very, when you are having a higher or a stronger leadership presence, the same person produces more. How? So this is what leaders have to look at. How I can bring the best in others. People are very emotionally and otherwise sensitive human beings. So knowledgeable leaders, leaders with leadership presence, are aware of it. So it is about creating intangible value. So intangibles definitely is a very, very important aspect of leading with purpose, because the purpose itself is abstract. When you start, no one can touch it, feel it, or whatever. And presence with purpose would definitely need to tend to intangibles and nurturing, working on intangibles. And so that includes, as you said, reputation, brand, values, the culture, internal processes, the people, more importantly. And ultimately, any business is only as good as its people.
Sir, coming to the last question that I want to ask is, we've been talking about habits and many pointers that a leader should look at. What are micro habits? Example like intent ahead, notes, strategic silence, elevate perceived gravitas instantly, sir. So, what are those micro habits?
I would just like to focus on one micro habit that we can start employing from now. Yeah, it
Okay.
is 7:21 now. This
Mm-mm.
is something that we can put into use from 7:22 p.m. today, India time.
Okay. Okay.
That is, be there wherever you are.
Mm.
Just
Okay.
be present. Be present wherever you are. And start seeing the magic that you will feel yourself. And it would definitely match or align with some of those spiritual aspects like conscious living and things like that, but without complicating terminologies, or without even being uh, you know being philosophical. We can just enjoy our life, being there wherever we are. So just to explain that a bit further, be with the person whom you are with at any point in time, or the people that you are with. Just be there.
Hmm.
Just be there wholly, 100%. Or if you are reading a mail, just be with the mail 100%. Sometimes what happens is that when you read a mail, what you get depends on how much attentive you are. The same words can talk different things. That is something that we need to experience, when we read it with involvement, and when we read it as a ritual. So my encouragement is to involve and be there in every moment, be it drafting a message, be it reading a message, be it cycling to office, be it brushing your teeth, be it eating
Hmm.
food.
And
Yeah.
I think what you are saying is one pointer that I am today. The concentration while eating food is on the TV that we are watching, not on the food that we are eating. So that's the major part I see with kids. Or I was told even in one of the discussion is that today people don't eat; they'll look at the colors and feel satisfied because that is how it is presented also, right? So everything is a presence or a present that they get to know, and based on which they are getting tied up, is what I understand.
Yeah,
That's
the way you experience life will definitely change. The way you run your business will 100% change. The way others experience you 100% will change. And the way you can connect with people, relate things, create stories, relevant stories, even your memory you may find improving presence.
So with this, I have the pointers that I wanted to cover up, and I will go and do a small summary, which what have spoken so far. So we started with purposeful presence and creating, following through strategic goals is what we spoke. Then we spoke about behaviors, signals, presence, remote, hybrid, where on-site teams are there and how we manage them. That's the point that we spoke. And then we also spoke about micro interactions, which is micromanagement and micro interactions. We had a brief pointer, good amount of time spent on how we should look at those pointers. Then we spoke about how everybody does not know everything, and vulnerability is one place where you have to show up so that you are not eroding authenticity, but still being showing authentic, right? So authority is there, but you are still being authentic. Then we spoke about storytelling, which I think is very important for every leader to narrate a story or a reference pointer or a use case which can help the team, the second line leaders, to understand what is that he's trying to articulate and tell. So that's one thing. Then we spoke about something on uh, we are a data driven guys, where we look at lot of data, but it does not inspire. Most of the time, it is there's a number to it. So this is what we achieved. This is what it does not inspire you. So that is one action that we wanted to look at. How do we inspire people? Bring the presence with the purpose there, and frontline employees score how they can be triggered. You mentioned that it can be at a fraction of a second. Maybe they recall something in that session that they did and they get inspired. Maybe a day after, oh, yesterday this was discussed. So it depends on how the leader is impacting, and the perception that the person is taking on what the leader has spoken is what we spoke about. We spoke 90 days as a very longer period, which can have an impact. It can be instant. That's what we spoke about. Then we spoke about employee brand and innovation culture. What we spoke about culture and stuff, then that is what we spoke. And finally we came into micro habits, where you should start being present in whatever you are doing. Look at that pointer at that presence and take that pointer to complete that and give attention to the next step that you want to do, rather than doing multitasking, which you also told it in the first pointer itself. People always take that multitasking, they are able to achieve more, which is wrong, is what you said. And uh, focused attention creates more value, more work accomplished. So these are the pointers that we spoke about in the last 50 odd minutes, sir. And any take that you want to say as a final word before we conclude, sir?
Sure, and thank you, Prem, and my acknowledgements, appreciation for you. 276th episode, not a small achievement at all. So I really congratulate you and appreciate you for that. And I would be really encouraging every one of us to be present in whatever we are doing, wherever we are, in whatever moment that we are awake, and and then see the magic that is going to happen. I'm sure, especially leaders. For leaders, it is more important because they influence other people. They bring change to society. They touch many more people. So for leaders, it is extremely important that they are present in every moment, and to tell you, even their decision making ability will improve significantly when they are present.
Sir, thank you, sir. I've brought up the QR code for sir's book that is there. You can scan it, and it will take you to the link where you can purchase this book. Okay. And sir, thank you for being here, sir. And with this, to the audience, we are having our podcast stream to YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Hope you found this interaction valuable. Thank you for joining us. Our next episode is tomorrow, which is 277th episode, where we are talking on the new cyber secure fortress, why cloud security is in your first line of defense, is what we are doing. Next episode tomorrow means our tomorrow of 29th, which is the schedule of the podcast next episode. Okay. So which is going to be at 29th at 6:30 p.m. Looking forward to see you. Good day, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here, and it's a pleasure having you again, and we hope to bring you back again very soon. Thank
My
you, sir.
pleasure. Thank you.